All right, hopefully I'm gonna do this like right the first time instead of just talking about whatever. I mean that just applies to Muldrotha. So this is my 2.0 of Muldrotha. I don't know if there'll ever be a 3.0. I don't know. Maybe I'll pull apart the Wise Mothman back into another deck again. Because Wise Mothman tends to be just. I mean, I just figure as +1/+1 counters. I don't even necessarily. Do I even need the Mothman? I don't fucking know. But this is pretty much a +1/+1 counter deck, but with Muldrotha as the centerpiece, as the commander, because she's really good with. If anyone targets anything specifically or any board wipes, I can bring shit back from the graveyard unless I exile it, then that's a different story. But then I also combined a bunch of Muldrotha cards that once again, cards that tend to be in a Muldrotha decks that like synergy or that complement Muldrotha. Engine pieces, sacrifice outlets, etc. I sold a lot of my rare stuff or my expensive stuff. If I could have any expensive card, it'd probably be a Displacer Kitten. Someone mentioned it. I didn't understand it until thinking about, all you need is a non-creature spell, which could be an artifact or enchantment that you bring back from the graveyard, which I have plenty of those. And I would like to get maybe a couple more that are more specific or, once again, synergize or combo with Muldrotha, just to make, once again, just be a little bit more competitive. I'm trying to think of more tempo rather than just trying to be so fierce and fast, but, it might happen just because, once again, you go too fast and, like, if you can't get, you got to take out three people at once, essentially. If you take out one person, you're now that, the other two guys are going to take you out. Or the other, it could be two women, it could be other two people. So, I have ways of making a bunch of tokens. The Crystalline Crawler, for example, that makes infinite mana if you know what you're doing. I already talked about I've talked about multiple times at least by this point, with the Wise Mothman deck I made. I didn't play test it, so I didn't know how to. Sorry, I didn't know how to finish the game per se. But I usually have like a plan A, plan B, plan C, and all that shit. But maybe I didn't. I don't know. I just, once again, when you don't play test the deck and you go into, I guess, a semi-competitive, even though once again it should have been straight up fucking, just a chill setting, whatever. But this is probably where my Muldrotha deck will sit at for the time being. Sultai, it's just two Sultai decks put together, and I tried to make it. They kind of complement each other. I could specifically, stick to just Muldrotha decks that, which stick to recursion and graveyard, etc. At one point, I don't know if you heard, it doesn't, at one point I tried doing like exiling, and if I had, Thassa's Oracle or Lab Maniac, etc. I think even there's a Jace that does it, and I'm sure there's another card that does it, that allows you, once you have no cards in your hand, in your deck, you win the game instead. This is just a home video per se that I guess I'm putting on public for anyone to, I guess, I don't know, I lavish upon, I guess devour if they really give a shit. These are, I may not have these decks forever. So, this is kind of that way of doing it. And I guess I could do various other ways, but this is just my way of doing it. If you watched it, cool. If not, I don't give a fuck.